for the kind of speech or the kind of spoken Telugu with which we are concerned, the informal language of the educated, the number of vowel sounds that must be distinguished depends on whether one is dealing with the words spoken in isolation, either as one word sentences or as citation forms, or with words in components of larger sentences. As one goes from citation forms to connected sentences, the number of vowels that must be distinguished just about doubles. Thus follows from this follows from two facts about the language of coastal Andhra Pradesh. For citation forms, each non-finial vowel has in general two forms, somewhat different qualities. One, when the finial vowel of the word is an a or a ah, and another when some other vowel is in the finial position, in the final position. Position, the final vowel may differentiate words of unlike meanings with otherwise share the same spelling. A word whose citation form ends in a short vowel may have a form without this final vowel when its word is a part of a longer sequence, and the vowel in the final syllable of the shorter form of the word may preserve the quality appropriate to the position before the final vowel of the citation form. This is regularly the case when the vowel which is elided in the second syllable of the citation form. Thus, for example, the A of the meku, which means nail, or the A of meka, goat, are different in quality, and these differences are preserved in the two sentences mekundi means there is a nail, and mekandi there is a goat. In fact, the difference between the two vowels of the E may well be greater in the sentences than in the isolated citation of the form. As we see, the two words in citation form may adequately distinguished in writing solely on the basis of the difference in their final vowels. so that this quality difference between the two varieties of A need not be especially marked in writing these words. When the final vowels of these words are elided in a sentence, the quality difference between the two varieties of A becomes a major importance to the correct identification of the word. Under the same circumstances, each of the other vowels shows a similar differentiation in quality. Rather than double the number of vowels and vowels in order to represent words in sentences, we shall introduce a single additional symbol, the apostrophe. Any word whose citation form includes a in second syllable position, which is elided when the word occurs in context, will be written with an apostrophe to mark the place of the elided a. Elided vowels other than a will not be so marked. Thus, meku and meka will be represented in our sentences as make, make undi, make undi, there is a nail, and meka undi, ka is represented by a apostrophe here. There is a goat. Make undi, meka undi, make undi, make undi, make undi. The presence or absence of the apostrophe thus indicates the quality of the preceding vowel and hence serves to distinguish words and sentences of different meaning. The use of the apostrophe will be discussed further in grammar notes in lesson 1. An example will be given in the pronunciation notes of lesson 3. Where a vowel other than a has been elided, no symbol of any kind will mark its place. For many speakers of the sound represented by A, is ordinarily not distinguished from the variety of the A which is used before the syllables containing an A or A vowel. For such speakers, then the word goat might be written as either meka or miaka, meka or miaka. In our text, we choose to write the vowel with an E whenever it is followed in the same word by a syllable containing an A or A in, or as an apostrophe. When the following syllables contain some other vowel, then the AE will be written. There is one situation in which the vowel sound represented by A or by A before A or A will be written in still another way in this text. When the word whose citation form ends with an I in I is followed in the same phrase by a word whose citation form begins with an A, the place in the sentence where we might expect either a simple A or the final short vowel E or the sequence of I and A is occupied by a vowel which is phonetically equal to mie, mie, mie. This vowel, however, will be represented by the vowel mark, the division into words. Thus, bandapu, instead of bandapu, we will write it as bandi apu. In the case some speakers, the vowel which is we shall write ea or I is everywhere more or less diphthongized, so that the symbol ea might be eliminated entirely and replaced everywhere by either ea, aya, or I and a. However, in this text, the a will be used as long as the vowel falls entirely within a single word. Although Telugu does not have a short vowel a within its distinct form, e in the same way that ae is distinct from e, a vowel other than a or a vowel which is phonetically a, does occur in one circumstance when a word whose citation form ends in I is the followed by one whose citation form begins with an A. The sequence IA will represent a vowel like variety of A, which is found before A or A in the following syllable. That is, a short vowel having the quality of A. Thus, ivi anni, all these things in a closer approximation to the pronunciation might be written ivanni, ivanni. In general, the difference between the short and long vowel is important for the purpose proper identification of words. In the case of word final vowels, in general, the difference between the short and the long vowel is important for the proper identification of words. In the case the word final vowel, however, the feature of length does not serve as a distinctive characteristic of words. Instead, final vowels are highly variable in length, generally short when the word is not final in a phrase, longer if it is in the final position. When the word final vowel is at the end of the phrase, it is marked not only by an increased length but also by those pitch, sometimes pause features discussed in the section on intonation. There are at least two exceptions to the citation forms end with long vowel that is often elided. The words are baga, means good or well or nice, and inka means still or yet, whose shortened forms, which is written as bag, ink, are rare instances in which an apostrophe represents a vowel other than a. Consonants.